Hello and welcome everyone to the latest edition of the Sight Screen Cricket Journal. I'm your host, Tawhid Qureshi. Haven't been with you for a little while, but what a day I've chosen to come back and do another podcast for everyone. It's a day when Bangladesh have truly made history. They've beaten New Zealand in New Zealand at Mount Maunganui, the World Test champions. They've beaten them really quite comfortably in the end by 8 wickets. And what a fantastic performance it was against all of the odds. I feel we've got so much to talk about today. And with me, I've got a fantastic guest. He's joining us all the way from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Really grateful to have him on. He is Mr. Samiur Rahman. He's the senior reporter at the Business at the Business Post. I obviously know him as Sami Bhai. So Sami Bhai, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Tawfiq Bhai, for inviting me in your podcast. It's really an honor to share the screen with you. We shared some beautiful moments back in Dhaka when Bangladesh has been playing against Pakistan, and now we are quite literally a big difference in geographically we are apart, but thanks to technology, they have joined us together, and we'll be talking about the historic test at the Mount Maunganui, which just Bangladesh have won. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sami Bhai, for joining me. And you're right. Yeah, we met a few weeks ago in Dhaka and also in Chattogram in the press box. And yeah, what a different series that was compared to the test match that we've just seen. And we're going to talk about, those differences and just everything that's happened. It's basically been less than 24 hours since Bangladesh have won that test match. So I think it's kind of still sinking in a little bit. It's still sinking in for me. But just in terms of your initial personal reaction, I mean, how are you feeling? Obviously, you're someone who's watched so many Bangladesh performances, so many disappointing Bangladesh performances at close quarters. Now you've had the opportunity to kind of witness this historic victory.
Well, at first, what I should say that I felt like it's surrealistic. Waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and seeing Bangladesh win, like when you are quite not wake up from sleep, you need a strong coffee to get that dizziness out of your mind, and you see Bangladesh winning. So that's kind of dilemma. Is it really happening? Like if you, I like to utter a song. Is this a real world or the fantasy? So that's something what I felt at the very moment when Mushfiq scored the boundary. Is it really happening? Am I dreaming or not? So that is the case. What went through my mind, and really, because that was very early in the morning, so there was no procession, there was no jubilation in the roads. So, but when I scrolled the Facebook, I found a good number of people were awake. They were watching the games, and they have expressed their feeling almost the same way I shared with you. It's like all of them were thinking that are they dreaming or it's really happening at Mount Maunganui. So that is something we felt at the very morning. It was almost like 7 o'clock in the morning in Dhaka when Bangladesh registered that historic victory. So, and after that, it was quite a busy day. It was quite a long day because we all went to the Sher-e-Bangla Cricket Stadium, Mirpur. We were looking for someone who can speak about, like from ex-players, Bangladesh Cricket Board officials, even Tamim Iqbal, Mahmudullah Riyad, Imrul Qais, and few other cricketers. Came there for practicing ahead of the upcoming Bangladesh Premier League. So we tried to contact them, tried to know their reactions. So, at the end of the day, we have a whole lot of newspaper spaces to fill in. So yeah, the day started long back at almost 4 a.m. and it's almost 11:30 at night in Dhaka, and I'm still alive. So it's a long day, but I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Brilliant, and thank you. Yeah, I can imagine it's been a really busy, hectic, long day, like you say. So yeah, thank you for staying awake, for managing to stay awake at 11:30 in the evening local time. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was a similar reaction for me. So back in the UK, it was about half midnight, 12:30 in the morning, just when Mushfiq was scoring those winning runs. And yeah, similarly, it felt quite unreal. Having kind of witnessed and watched so many disappointing performances, I think one of the things that really struck me was actually on that last day, on that last morning, how kind of easy Bangladesh made it look. They took those 5 wickets inside that last hour, and then they lost 2 wickets, but they got to that target of 40 runs really pretty easily in the end, and that 8-wicket victory.
Yeah, no late drama, which is a customary characteristics of Bangladesh, a late drama. So there was no late drama. That is something we can cheer for.
Absolutely, yeah. We're all used to seeing Bangladesh just stumble at the finish line. So yeah, it was great to see
Especially
that.
after seeing that debacle in Bangalore, I can't believe in Bangladesh cricket team because unless they scored the winning runs, because anything can happen. So I was holding my breath because even the target was 40. I was also like, oh, ominous, anything could happen. But finally, they managed to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I felt like that as well. I remember, Shadman Islam went quite early, didn't he? And it was a case of, well, what's going to happen here? But yeah, in the end, they got there in really quite a straightforward manner. Just before we kind of pick over everything that's happened, and just kind of talking a little bit about why the performance was so good. I think it is worth summarizing the actual game, because actually so much happened in those 5 days as well. So just to quickly summarize, Bangladesh, they won the toss. They put New Zealand into bat, which actually was the obvious decision, and actually proved to be a really good toss to win. New Zealand made 328. And really, I suppose in that first day, the game was in the balance a little bit. I think New Zealand were 5 down at the end of that day. But Shoreful, I think, was a pick of the bowlers on that first day. He kind of picked up 3 wickets, and in total. And I think one of the things that impressed me most, I guess, about that first day was that they never let New Zealand really run away. They kept the run rate in check. Mehdi Miraj was bowling, this kind of containing role, and he did it really effectively. I think he allowed the pace bowlers to rotate at the other end. And then on day 2, Miraj actually ended up kind of quite effectively mopping up the tail. And those last 5 wickets, I think, fell quite cheaply for New Zealand. In the end, they made 328. And then in reply, I mean, a monumental innings from Bangladesh, 458. But that only tells half the story, really. It was across 176 overs. I mean, I just have to sort of say that twice. 176 overs for Bangladesh to bat that many overs in New Zealand, I thought was absolutely astounding, particularly if you think back to what happened just a few weeks ago in that Pakistan series, where they couldn't even bat out. What was it? They needed to bat out, I think, a session or 2 sessions to save the game. They ended up losing that second test by inside 2.5 days, basically. So yeah, a really phenomenal performance by them. There were half centuries from Hassan Joy, from Najmul Hossain Shantu, from the skipper Mominal, and Liton Das as well, carrying on his fantastic red ball form that he's shown in 2021. So yeah, really phenomenal innings, I think, which kind of set up the win, really, essentially, for Bangladesh. And then I guess on day 4, there was a sense of, the game was kind of heading towards a draw. New Zealand, in the shape of Taylor and Young, they put on a bit of a partnership. They got to 136 for 2 when, it was getting towards the end of the day. They were in the evening session. Bangladesh were looking for the breakthrough. And then up steps Ebadot Hossain from nowhere, 3 wickets, 7 balls, a magic spell of bowling. He'd bowled a brilliant 9-over spell just before those wickets actually fell, and really did just from that point on. I mean, Bangladesh, I feel, were dominant kind of throughout, but from that point on, you felt that the match was there for the taking. And then, as I said, on day 5, I thought they were really clinical in taking those last 5 wickets inside the first hour. I think New Zealand only added about 30 odd runs, 169 all out they were in the end, setting that target of 40. So yeah, it was just a phenomenal achievement. And yeah, so many good performances. Like I said, you look through all of those 11 players, every single one of them contributed in some way. So that's kind of the summary. That's kind of why we're here. But I guess let's kind of maybe rewind slightly and try and get a bit of perspective on things. And one thing that I'm really really interested to hear from you is about kind of your views on why Bangladesh managed to pull off this win. Why had they managed to kind of change their fortune so drastically? Even if you look back a few weeks against Pakistan, their batters especially looked kind of all at sea. So yeah, in your view, what was the main reasons for the change?
I think what made the team perform this way is like they gelled very well throughout the quarantine period in New Zealand. Like they left for New Zealand just on the very night after, almost after 10 hours later from the way they got defeated by Pakistan and Dhaka. So they have a long quarantine period in New Zealand. Rangana Hera, the spin bowling coach, he was found COVID-19 positive, and their isolation period extended. So I think when they stayed together in that managed isolation quarantine, they have their communications well, and they set a goal. Like they have come across to New Zealand, they will be staying there for 42 days and only be playing 2 test matches. So in that period, I think the whole team gelled and they all were in the same page, because everybody who were in the New Zealand, they really want to play test cricket. Like, there is no Shakib, there is no Tamim who is backing up from this series. Like Tamim said that he has got an injury, and Tamim said that he has got a personal reason. But the main thing is nobody wants to stay in isolation for 42 days for just 2 test matches. And none of these players who are the so-called senior cricketers of Bangladesh, who are like the crowd pullers in the Bangladesh Premier League, which is going underway from January 21. None of them wanted to risk themselves before the Bangladesh Premier League, which is where where they have already got a very lucrative deal. So like it is like a trade-off. Like if someone Sakib or Tamim goes to play in New Zealand and picked up an injury, which has a long history of picking up his injuries. All Bangladeshi players have a long history of picking up injuries in New Zealand tour. So they didn't want to risk the BPL. So all the cricketers who were in New Zealand, they were very determined, because they are the test team regulars. They are not the conventional so-called stars who are very much famous, who always represent Bangladesh in the white ball format. If you see Mominul, he only plays international cricket for Bangladesh in Test cricket. Taijul, he is not a very, he doesn't get a lucrative deal in the local leagues. And other players like Abu Zaid Rahi, or you can say Ebadot Hossain, or you can say Nazmul Hossain Shanto, he is also not in the white ball draft as well. So all of them who are there in New Zealand, most of them who are in New Zealand, they really wanted to play test cricket, and that's why they were in New Zealand. And that, I think, ignited them some hope that we are here in New Zealand, we are here for a long time, and we want to show something, that we are not that bad what we played against Pakistan. we want to start the year afresh. So that was their New Year resolution. They were on the same page, and I think they also got some favor of fortune as well, because Mominul, in the first innings he was out for a no ball, which was a millimeter away from. It could
Yeah.
happen in either way.
He
Like
also
he was
he
out in a no
also
ball.
yeah,
Yeah,
just before that, Jameson dropped him as well, didn't he? It was a caught and
yeah.
bowled chance. So yeah.
So they were also a bit lucky, and they took the chances. And one thing what I found, that the determination and the grit among their batting, like previously what we saw Bangladesh in test batting is like very much like their one day batting. They used to play free flowing shots. They were trying to play attacking cricket, and they mm, eh, end up throwing away their wickets. Like all of the batsmen you will see, they will score a beautiful 20 or 30, but the conversion rate was quite low. But in the first innings, there were four half centuries, and all of the batsmen, they tried to occupy the crease. They tried to play out the overs. What you just said, that they have played 176 overs in their first innings. So usually what we see, that the top order of the Bangladesh cricket team is not very much stable. So against the four pace bowlers of New Zealand like Kyle Jamieson, Trent Bolt, Neil Wagner, and Team Saudi, what we could anticipate that they will easily crumble. Like they will all three or four wickets will be down for a very little run. But the top order gave a solid start, and then the middle order they build it up on that platform, and then the tail ender also they supported very well. So as a total team effort, when they achieved the lead against New Zealand, that gave them a very big moral boost. And actually, that helped the whole Bangladesh team, also the bowlers, because the bowlers had a good room to bowl in their second innings. In most of the cases, when Bangladeshi bowlers bowl in their second innings, they have a very small target to defend. So in that case, the situation was totally different, and the bowlers, especially Ebadot, he learned from his mistakes, which he did in the first innings, and he delivered one of the most say beautiful spells by any pace bowler from Bangladesh, and that ultimately handed Bangladesh that monumental victory.
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to talk about Ebadot in a bit more detail in a moment, but yeah, agree with kind of a lot of those points that you've made. I I, I totally agree with what you say about all of those players who are in that team really wanted to be there. They really wanted to play cricket, Test cricket against New Zealand in New Zealand, and like you say, the likes of Shakib, the likes of Tamim, who opted not to tour, either for their own personal reasons or for reasons around injury, like you say, I think kind of made a difference actually because. Well, we were talking about this earlier. My kind of feeling about it is obviously, you want Shakib in the team if he's fit, if he's mentally prepared, and if he wants to play. But often, I think what we've seen in the past, and maybe in the past 12 months, we've seen, when Shakib does play, he's not 100% fit. His mind isn't 100% on the job. And also, I think, potentially there is that sort of disruptive influence amongst the team when he does play. So yeah, like I say, obviously Bangladesh's all-time greatest player, but sometimes when he is there, it means that some of the other players don't actually perform to their best ability. So my personal kind of thinking around this was, with him in particular not being there, I felt that some of the younger players, the likes of Najmul Hussain Chantu, the likes of Hassan Joy, were able to kind of step up and kind of take on more responsibility.
Well, I think Shakib is the chaos factor. Like if someone comes 2 or 3 days earlier of the start of the game and just hop checks in into the hotel and then plays, then psychologically you will not gel perfectly. Like what I said, that these people they have gelled together during the quarantine period in New Zealand. So in in the series against Pakistan, what we saw, Sakib did not play in the T20 series. He just came before the test match. He played and he was really out of focus because his mind is not present there. And what I feel that the other players think that as Shakib is there, this is his responsibility to make Bangladesh win. So they all depend heavily on Shakib. And when Shakib is not present, all of them share equal responsibility. In another way, what I could we can put it in like that: Shakib steals the spotlight every single time. So when there is no Shakib, everyone tries to be in the spotlight, and that together pulled up a total team effort, a synchronized effort, a synergical effort, I should say. Everybody they put something bigger than their potential, and together it helped Bangladesh to perform in a better way in the Test match against New Zealand.
I couldn't agree more. And I wrote about this earlier on. I mean, I know Shakib has huge supporters around the world, so maybe there's lots of people out there who will watch this, who will listen
No,
to
because
this.
if you have Shakib in the team, like there has to be some, you have to put him on number four to bat on, or you have to give him the ball when somebody is not doing well, or you have to give him the ball because there is very little room for experiment, and there is a persona like when Shakib is in the dressing room, everybody tries to please him because that's the way it is. Like he is a very bigger statue, he is a very bigger player in the dressing room. Everybody will look up to his comfort zone. Like is he? They don't think about the team's performance. Like yes, Shakib Bhai, if one is Shakib Bhai the team, we are not getting any wicket. Let's give the ball to Shakib Bhai. It's Shakib Bhai's duty to carry on. He's there. So when Shakib is not, I think the team performs in a better way,
Absolutely, and I
especially in
think
Test cricket.
Absolutely. And I think what will be fascinating as well in the next kind of few months is what Shakib chooses to do. They've obviously got the BPL coming up immediately after this series when they fly back home. I think that starts in the 20th of January, the 21st of January.
21st of
Um,
January.
yeah, so that's coming up. I expect Shakib to be taking part in that tournament. And then pretty soon after that, that I think goes on for about 4 weeks. And then basically the team are off to South Africa for a test series there. So I think it'll be fascinating to see what Shakib decides to do regarding that tour. Or indeed, maybe there won't be space for him in that test team. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe, and if history repeats itself, like Shakib also opted out from the South Africa tour when Bangladesh toured South Africa previously back in 2017 or 2018. Shakib also opted out from the tour, so there is every chance that Shakib might opt out from the tour of South Africa because after the South Africa tour there will be Indian Premier League, and he wants to stay fresh for that lucrative tournament as well. So you never know.
You never know. We shall see. One other reason, which we discussed earlier, for the change in kind of Bangladesh's mindset, we kind of said that it might well have been that they were so many thousands of miles away from home, away from Dhaka, which we all know can be an intense kind of atmosphere when Bangladesh are playing cricket there. We all know that I guess in many ways we are part of the cricket media that kind of cover Bangladesh, but at some times, we know that the media circus can become a bit of a distraction from the team. It can kind of impact negatively maybe on the way that players are thinking. I know that in Bangladesh cricket team within the Bangladesh cricket team, I know there's a big kind of effect that social media has on the actual players. So maybe being away from all of that actually helped them as well.
Well, I also think the time difference also worked as a trick. Like, for the time difference, no BCB official or board director, even the BCB president, he will not call any player and he will tell what to do, what not to do, which is he is not supposed to do. Like, he is the administrative guy, but he always takes the role of the coach and he tells the players what to do and what not to do. So Jokes apart, what I'm trying to say that they were in a serene condition in New Zealand. Like they were in their own cocoon. There is no external effect. That peace of mind was needed. That focus was needed before they take on New Zealand on their own turf. Like you correctly picked it out that the media circus, especially when they're playing in Bangladesh, like even if they stay away from the social media in the television, whenever someone is staying inside the room, staying in the isolation, whenever he switches on the TV, browses some channel, he will see some expert calling this or that. Somebody is accusing this or that. So and if someone did did not perform well in the field that day, he will see himself in the newspaper or in an online news portal or in the television channel being victimized, being trolled, or something like that. So, yeah, that I think helped the team to perform well, to keep their focus narrow, to keep their focus just on the game and their preparation. So, yes, what I think you are quite correct that staying away from all this chaotic madness that I think helped him to do well against New Zealand. And if the cricket board thinks that this staying inside that bigger bio bubble will help them to perform well, I think we will be jobless.
Well. As long as we get Zoom access, then maybe we'll be okay. Um, but yeah, let's move on then to one of the other main factors that you've already mentioned, which contributed to Bangladesh's success, and that was, of course, Ebadot Hossain. As you were saying, fantastic spell of bowling, kind of late in the day on day 4 to pick up those 3 wickets, and then he just seemed to continue where he left off on the morning on day 5. But I'm going to rewind, actually. Well, I want to hear about his backstory because we all know it's an interesting backstory. We all know he was part of or he is still. Actually, I want to know: is he still part of the Air Force? Don't answer that question just yet. I've got another question to ask you before that. But yeah, we all know that he's been involved with the Air Force. That he used to play volleyball. That he actually picked up cricket or begun to play cricket very late. Well, kind of in his early 20s, I guess. But so really want to hear about that story. But before we do, I'm going to kind of rewind to actually the start of the game itself. And I just remember quite a lot of, shall we say, kind of disquiet on social media about the fact that he was selected. So I think if you rewind to that first morning, there were lots of people saying, why isn't Abu Jayed Rahi playing? What is Ebadot doing even anywhere near the team? He shouldn't be playing. I mean, can you think back to that time? What was your kind of view on his selection?
Yes, what you just said. I also found some people, the TV experts, some of the TV experts who appeared in the mid-innings show. They were asking questions like why he is picked up, because Abu Jaid Rahi has got the ability to swing the ball in both ways. So at first instance, I thought that they are following a process. Ebadot is one of their key bowlers. Ebadot is one of the faster bowlers, and they should go for someone like Ebadot because pace is something which where Bangladesh lacks. Because if Abu Jaid he can swing the ball in both ways, but with his gentle medium pace, like he bowls in 120 or 130 hardly. So with a gentle medium pace, I think he will be quite readable. So yeah, but what I thought that Bangladesh always picks a safe side when they choose the 11 for Test match. Like we have seen Bangladesh playing with 1.5 pacer, like one pacer and one pace bowling all rounder would be Shomo Sarkar or Ariful Haq at the home Test matches. Even they pick 8 batsmen. So I thought for a safer option, Mominul could opt for Taijul Islam, who also did well in the previous Test match series against Pakistan. So I thought that as the specialist spinner, they would go for Taijul Islam. They will not go for 3 spacers. So if you have to pick a pacer, then pick someone who has got the pace actually. So in that particular argument, my vote is for Ebadot, no doubt. And end of the day, it worked well. So that is something what.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you say, at the end of the day, the selection was absolutely perfect. Those 11 players that were selected were absolutely the best 11. And, the result of the game proved that that was absolutely the correct selection. And that, I think sometimes it's, you can be a bit wise after the event, but actually also in that first morning, my kind of reaction was that, yeah, Ebadot actually, if you watched very closely his performance against Pakistan, particularly in that first test, I think it was on day 3, he has the ability to bowl really hostile short spells of bowling. He picked up 2 wickets, I think, on day 3 against Pakistan when they restricted Pakistan in their first innings, and they got that lead of 44. So I've kind of felt that he's always had that ability to kind of bowl short,
He needs a
hostile
little time
spells
to
of bowling.
pump up. As a pacer, he needs a little time to pump up.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the other thing on selection, I think, yeah, like you say, there was lots of noise around why wasn't Rahi picked and, why is Ebadot playing. But I think at the end of the day, what you've got to understand as well, they are 2 completely different bowlers. So it's, like you say, it's about what approach, you want to go for in the test match. Do you want to play it safe? Or do you want to, try to win the game with your quickest bowler? And absolutely glad that Ebadot played and kind of proved quite a few people wrong, actually. But yeah, let's hear about his backstory. I mean, yeah, he came to cricket, as we know, quite late. He's from Mulibajar in
Yeah,
Sylhet, which is
Borolekha.
right.
Yes, Borolekha Morli Mother. Yes, I was fortunate enough to see Ebadot competing in the pace bowler hunt. It was a talent hunt program jointly run by Bangladesh Cricket Board and the then title sponsor of the Bangladesh cricket team, Robi, mobile service operator. So to promote their internet facility, they promote their mobile internet service. They have launched the fastest bowler hunt campaign to tag with their fastest internet. So that was the case, and Ebadat became the winner of that contest. Possibly, his fastest delivery in that contest was 139 kilometers per hour, and on an average, he bowled on 136 kilometers per hour. So that was the case when Ebadot first broke into that cricket scene. And in that day, we learned that Ebadot was a volleyball player for Bangladesh Air Force. For your kind information, all the services they pick they pick players to play for their unit, like their paramilitary unit of Bangladesh, like Bangladesh Ansar and the Bangladesh Army or Bangladesh Navy or Bangladesh Air Force. They they choose players. They are not armed with weapon. They don't actually serve in the in the bases. They are players. They play for that particular unit in the various inter-unit competition or the zonal or national competitions. So Ebadat was their volleyball player. So he was drafted into the Air Force team through their player quota. So that is something what I want to clarify because he is not a pilot in the Air
Yeah.
Force. So he was the volleyball player, but you know that volleyball is not that much popular in Bangladesh, and like any other Bangladeshi youth, he used to play cricket in his childhood days, and as playing playing volleyball could get him a job in the Air Force, which is a quite lucrative deal for you for a young guy who lives in an interior place like Borle Kamuli was that was a government job could ensure him a better housing, a better pension in the retired life. So he joined Bangladesh Air Force as a volleyball player. And nearby his locality, Borlekha, there is Air Force Base, I think the Shamshernagar Air Force Base where he was posted. So, and when and he maybe played for a second division team in Dhaka for maybe 1 or 2 matches. So that is his competitive cricket before being the winner of that Pacer hunt. So after becoming the winner of the Pacer hunt, so Bangladesh Cricket Board drafted him into their high performance program. High performance program is run by the Bangladesh Cricket Board, where they take players who just finished their under 19, finished their age level, and they are yet to perform for the national team. So they are the prospective players who are put into the high performance squad, something like England Lions or similar kind of program, So Ebadot was drafted into there, and and put he joined the training, and I think a few months later, Akib Javed, former Pakistan pace bowler, he came to Dhaka to run a pace bowling clinic where some selected pacers from all around the country, some drop out from the national team, some budding pacers, they all took part in the pace bowling clinic. It went for, I think, 10 days to 1 week to 10 days. The duration was 10 days to 1 week. And after the clinic, Akib Javed was very much impressed seeing Ebadot's bowling, because the forces they pick physically fit guys. So Ebadot, he's tall, he's strongly built, he has that muscular figure. What he lacked is the experience of playing competitive cricket. When you see Ebadot bowling in the test matches against Pakistan, mostly you will see that he has got the pace, but the adjustment of his line and lengths are not quite okay, because he didn't come from the the usual steps which the cricketers follow. Like
Yeah.
they join the cricket academy, then coming through the age levels, then playing in the club cricket, then coming to the national team. He didn't follow the usual steps to come into the national team. So that is why I think he has some, problems of understanding the batsman and what kind of delivery to offer to beat that batsman. He lacked that understanding, but with the help of Otis Gibson and by playing like 10 test matches, he now is quite experienced, and he figured out what his weak points and what are his stronger points. And in this particular test match, I think he leaked few runs in the first innings. I think in the very first day one, the first half an hour was ruled by Shariful and Taskin. They gave away only 2 runs in the first half an hour. Like it was for 8 for 1 in after 8 overs, 2 for 1 after 8 overs,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. And then Ebadot came into bowling, and Ebadot and Miraj continued. Ebadot leaked some runs, and Ebadot, I think, he conceded 75 runs and picked only 1 wicket on first innings. But in the second innings, he adjusted his line and length. He used the conditions very well, and Litton, who came into the press conference yesterday, like, after day 4, he also said that from behind the stumps, he always guided Ebadot to adjust his line and lengths to bowl towards the stump, not outside of the stump. Like Ebadot used to bowl on the third, fourth, or fifth stump channel. But in the last day, where he picked 4 wickets, he bowled stump to stump. So with a little change in his line length and with little adjustment, he did very well. So that is what my observation about Ebadot.
Absolutely. I mean, he did brilliantly. 6 wickets in that second innings, in the New Zealand second innings. Really kind of sealed his player of the match performance. And yeah, it's interesting what you say there about him, about his backstory. Yeah, it kind of feels to me when I watch him sometimes, I think because he begun playing cricket so late in his early 20s, at times he doesn't look like a natural cricketer. You can tell certainly when he comes to bat, he's like a genuine number 11. And so, yeah, like you say, all that sort of coaching, all the advice from, the other players, it's kind of gradually helped him, I feel. And like you say, sometimes, yeah, especially pace bowlers, it takes maybe 10, maybe 15 tests to kind of figure things out. And also one kind of thing that I think we lack, or that, Bangladesh cricket lacks, and not only Bangladesh cricket, maybe, other Asian teams, other South Asian teams, is patience. We're so impatient for match winning performances, almost from day one or day two. It was quite amusing. I was speaking to someone during chatting to someone during the test match, during Hassan Joy's innings. He did brilliantly. He scored 78 in his second test match, and they were already kind of criticizing him for not doing certain things correctly, rather than kind of appreciating the effort and the actual achievement. So yeah, I think that's one thing that Bangladesh cricket sometimes lacks, is patience. And this time, actually, they have shown quite a lot of patience in Ebadot, and he really has kind of repaid that faith, which has been fantastic for everyone involved in the team. One last thing that I wanted to kind of ask you or talk to you about Ebadot was his post-match interview, which pretty much has gone viral. I don't know if you must have seen it, I guess, where he's interviewed by the New Zealand TV presenter, and it was such a genuine, heartwarming interview. It's kind of the post-match interview that you don't really see cricketers give, and it certainly left an impression on me. And
He
I
is
think
yet to learn how to be diplomatic.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's what people want, genuine kind of sentiments from their sports stars. So many times, I mean, we see it all the time as kind of journalists. You see cricketers just saying the same things over and over again,
Yeah.
cliches over and over again that don't
Yes.
make
Yes.
sense. But that interview was so different. It was so heartfelt. It was so kind of raw and passionate. It really has kind of struck a chord, I think.
Yeah, I think he was also waiting for a moment like that to come and face the media, because you know that his previous performances were not so well, and he was also not sent to the media to talk about, because being a Sileti, his diction is also not quite right. So I think that he was also looking for some kind of opportunity, and like what Darren Sammy did in 2016 World T20 final, he also came to the media and spoke his heart.
Well, he certainly sounded great to me. I understood every word of it, and it was yeah, a
Yes, the way he
fantastic
said, "I
interview.
represent Bangladesh. I represent Bangladesh Air Force." It's like it's really heartwarming, and you know that once a soldier, always a soldier. Maybe he is not still the Air Force airman, because as he was recruited as a volleyball player, he is not playing volleyball anymore. So maybe as an honorary soldier, he is part of that outfit, but he's not serving actually. What I knew, because when I talked to him a few months back, and I talk to his coach and some other guys around him, because around the year he's busy playing cricket or he's busy in training, so when there is no time for him to serve in the air force, so I think he's not really in not really in active service now, but I think as some forces do, they give him the honorarium as an honorary personnel. So I think that is the status now, but I can check and inform you later.
Sure. I think it will be fascinating to kind of see kind of where or how Ebadot kind of progresses from here on in, and yeah, really looking forward to kind of seeing him progress further. So let's move on then. I guess the question now is kind of what next. So a lot of people have kind of been asking, does this win really represent a significant change now for Bangladesh? Are they now going to be able to kind of compete consistently with some of the world's best teams? I mean, what's your view?
Well, I think this win will definitely give us a strong boost, but overnight nothing will change, because it is the same process which we followed for almost 20 years, 21 years after getting the test status, and no big change has been made. What made the change in the New Zealand, because all the team gelled up very well, and all of them they put a synergical performance. And what's next? You say there is a second test coming up, and I think Bangladesh will not try to be over aggressive and try to win the series by 2-0 against New Zealand. I think if they play it safely and sensibly, even a draw could suffice, because a draw will give them a 1-0 win over New Zealand. That will be a great thing to see, because New Zealand has been unbeaten at their home turf for quite a long time. Today, while writing my report, I was checking some stats, and I found that Pakistan was the last Asian team to win in New Zealand. That's back in 2011. India last won a test match in New Zealand back in 2009. Sri Lanka won a test match in New Zealand in 2006. So winning a test series against New Zealand in New Zealand would be something to cheer for. And I think after that, the players will come back to Bangladesh. They will take part in the BPL, and then there was a small little series against Afghanistan where they will be playing three one internationals and two T20 matches. So these test players will be forgotten. A lot of these test team members will not be picked for the Bangladesh Premier League teams, because they are the test players. They doesn't fit in the T20 music, and they will be staying at their home. They will not be assured a good, feasible, training facilities. Like, Taijul Islam, he stays in a city called Nator, which is in the Rajshahi division, which is not quite developed. So if Taijul is not playing, he will be staying at his home, which has a very little sporting activity, physical active place for physical activities to stay fit for international cricket. So they will come back to Bangladesh. Those who have got a team in the BPL, they will play T20, and those who did not, they will stay at their home, watch the others play in the TV, and then before South Africa tour, they will be called up for a short period of training camp ahead of the tour for 7 to 10 days, and they will fly. And I think the same what you have seen against Pakistan, that thing will be repeated against South Africa as well. But let's hope for the best, that the process changes. Bangladesh Cricket Board should put much emphasis on Test cricket as well, because this is the area where we really lack. Because after achieving the Test status in 2000, Bangladesh has played 127 matches and only managed to win 12, I think. So, and the number of matches, winning matches away from home is very low. This is the sixth time Bangladesh have won a Test match against out of their home, and that too, like after they won two against a very mediocre, very below par West Indies side. When the key players refused to play, they stepped down, and the team led by Floyd Rayford that played in
Yeah,
West Indies. So only
yeah,
two away matches which are really against a tough opposition was the 100 Test match of Bangladesh, which was played against Sri Lanka, and this one. So
yeah.
I think that Bangladesh should put more emphasis on Test cricket, especially on building some good surfaces, so that the Pacers, they also get some help at their home turf as well.
Yeah, let's absolutely hope so. And I, yeah, again, agree with a lot of what you're saying there. I think, yeah, Test cricket as a format has been hugely kind of neglected by the cricket board. I think it's kind of the least of Bangladesh cricket's priorities. I think that they
Even some
have
of the
definitely.
cricketers also dropped down Test cricket from their priority list.
Yeah, indeed. And I guess, when they can earn a lot more money playing white ball cricket, playing in the BPL, then that's always going to be the temptation. But yeah, just to go back to what you were saying there, it will give, I think, this team a huge amount of self-belief, a huge amount of confidence. And yeah, again, it will be really interesting to see how things develop in the Christchurch test. Like you say, Bangladesh are in the lead. It's up to New Zealand to win the test match, basically, to draw the series. So how they go about that will be absolutely an interesting watch. I think one of the challenges actually for Bangladesh and the coaching staff will maybe be to kind of bring the players back down to earth, because I'm sure, like, even now they're probably kind of celebrating and kind of can't quite believe what's kind of happened kind of less than 24 hours ago. So yeah, let's hope they come back to earth. Let's hope they, continue that kind of calm, determined, kind of gritty performance, because if they carry on, then I can't see them losing that second test. And just one last thing, I guess, in terms of the impact of this result as well, in terms of on Bangladesh supporters in Bangladesh. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in Chattogram watching the test match, I remember I was getting an Uber to the stadium one morning, and I was talking to the driver, and he was saying, "Oh, why are you going to the stadium?" And I was saying, "Oh, because Bangladesh are playing. They're playing Pakistan. It's a test match." And he was going, "Oh, I didn't know." And the reason why he said he didn't know was because he kind of fell out of love with the team. He kind of said that they had such a bad World Cup. They've been playing, pretty poorly for some months, that he didn't really kind of take notice of who they were playing and what was going on. So I hope and I think that this result will kind of reignite that love for a lot of Bangladesh supporters.
Well, the love is always there because but Bangladesh cricket has a love-hate relationship with the supporters because they always love him, they love to hate them, they always cheer for them in the ground, and when somebody is doing bad, you know, they always shout for axing him from the team, and they always shout for someone else who is not in the team to bring him back in the team. And when the process is and he when he is brought back in the team, then he also keep doing bad, and they will also shout for someone else who was dropped earlier to take him back. So it's a vicious circle. So there is a love-hate relationship between the supporters and the cricket. But I think the love is there. Sometimes people who that become very frustrated. Out of frustration, they speak things like that I don't care whether Bangladesh is playing or not. But I think that portion of people is very little. Grossly, people love to see the team playing. Grossly, there is a lot of support for cricket and cricketers. And what I think that this win was a breath of fresh air, because what has been going on in the Bangladesh cricket for past few months, like they had a horrible World Cup, and after that they had another horrible series against Pakistan. They lost the T20 series, they lost the Test series quite badly, which you experienced. Like the second Test, they lost it almost in 2.5 days, and all the talks which were going on around regarding the players, like the cricket board, the cricketer, the coach, even the cricketers' family members, like they were engaging in verbal battles in the Facebook or in Instagram. So cricketers were being trolled. Like some shops, they were offering discounts. Like if somebody scores this much of run today, I will give this much of discount. So that was the troll level you see regarding the players. So after such a humiliating scenario, when these guys who had all the odds against them delivered such a Herculean win against New Zealand, who are the number one test team, who are the current holders of the World Test Championship, and they were undefeated at their own turf for quite a long time, and winning against them, this is something miraculous. And I think what will happen right now as an immediate effect, people will try to wake up early in the morning and watch the test match. So that is the first thing that will happen. The television viewership will rise. And the second thing, I think, after the comeback, I think the cricket board will put some more emphasis on developing some more pace bowlers, because to win out of Asia, to win in countries out of the Asia, you need fast bowlers. Like there is no alternative. Like your left arm spinners will not give you a victory in New Zealand or in Australia or in England. You need fast bowlers to pick 20 wickets of the opposition. That's the thumb rule. And I think the board or the management or even the cricketers, they will now understand the importance of fast bowling, because what I said earlier, the two historic test matches Bangladesh won, like against a stronger opposition out of their home in Sri Lanka and in New Zealand. In Sri Lanka, it was Mustafizur Rahman. It was one of his spells which destroyed Sri Lanka completely. They were also cruising, but a spell in the late afternoon by Mustafiz took the game away from Sri Lanka. And same thing happened, but this time it was Ebadot Hossain, because it was all going in the New Zealand's way. They were like 136 for two, and suddenly from nowhere, Ibadat came in, and within 7 balls, he picked up 3 wickets and changed the complete scenario. Because you, and that is the beauty of Test cricket. That is something what a pace bowler can do. So I think the rise of Ibadat is the warning bell for the cricket board, because they should put more emphasis on pace bowling unit.
Definitely, and let's hope that the BCB, the cricket board, sort of hear that message, and it's responded to. Sami Bhai, we've spoken for almost an hour. It's been fascinating talking to you. I mean, I'm sure we could talk so much more. I mean, it's been brilliant to actually talk to you to get these insights, because actually for me, a lot of the time, I'm watching on TV when I'm in the UK, and I don't always get the insights that I was really glad to receive a few weeks ago when I was out in Bangladesh. So just talking to you has given me so much more of a picture about what's going on in Bangladesh and in Bangladesh cricket. It's been a momentous day, it really has. And yeah, thank you once again for sort of sharing your thoughts and insights on the game.
Thank you, Tawfiq bhai. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again in Bangladesh.
I hope to visit again very much, very, very soon, and I hope to visit very much as well. I really miss it, certainly during the cold English winter. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Do visit the website there, sitescreencricketjournal.com, for all of the latest news and views and all of my blog posts about Bangladesh cricket. And please also go and follow me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle, SiteScreenCJ. Until the next time, goodbye.